Now this is all speculation, but I feel like this Aang movie was completely sabotaged. This whole situation has just been very disappointing. It's really sad that it went down like this. Obviously with SpongeBob in the past, the leaks did happen over there with 2 of those movies like 8 months out. So it's not surprising if you've kept up with Paramount a little bit, but the fact that this did happen when Avatar Studios hype was at an all-time low just leaves me and the rest of us kind of feeling mixed emotions, because on one hand we think, okay, there's a future because this movie's amazing. I give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic movie. Basically everything except the story. The story is great, but it just needs a lot more. People saying it's regurgitated, I do agree with that a little bit. That's the positive end of it, but the negative end of it has to do with this leak happening, of course. It was not hackers, it was not an email, it was a distribution issue. One of the employees sent it to somebody shouldn't have, and then it just kind of went from there. And they even tried to put a hacker's name on the clips, and they made the clips look bad. Honestly, it just feels like this movie was sabotaged from the beginning. Like somebody really wants this movie to fail. The animators involved have been very vocal and telling all of us that if we care about Avatar and its future projects, we should support this movie officially when it does come out. And this fandom has been extremely disrespectful to the animators that work hard. You're hurting the future of the franchise. Honestly, I do get both sides, but this is not a both sides situation. And in moments like this, it's like, why can't Netflix just own this franchise? They do such a good job with this. This movie was the first opportunity to relaunch the franchise, and now that the leaks come out, it kind of sucked the wind out of the sails. Sadly, I do think Seven Havens is the true test. This will determine if the franchise is gonna be done for good or if it's back and better than ever. And I kind of hope that we get that moment, because Seven Havens, let's be honest, that's the more exciting of the 2. I think we were all more excited for that from the very beginning. We're on very shaky ground, but I do think there is still hope. Now, if Seven Havens season 1 gets leaked or it's not received well, I don't know. It's a little uncertain. You see, the problem here is it's gonna probably be like a Korra situation. The fandom's gonna get divided even more, and that's kind of how I view it, because when it comes to this new movie, similar to Korra, people have been toxic with power scaling, shipping, and then unfortunately they're being toxic to the animators. And that's what's really gotten me irritated, is these animators are having a really rough week. They are not happy with how things have gone down, rightfully so. They have worked on this movie for years. They don't get a final moment of celebration to see this, first of all, on the big screen, because in December, Paramount took that moment away from them, from us. This is a movie that needed to be seen on the biggest screen possible, and thanks to Paramount, that is no longer happening. Paramount's either going to fully support them after Seven Havens, or it's unfortunately going to be time to wrap it up. And I hope it isn't, because this movie, as I said, some of the best visuals, it feels kind of like Korra Book 2 and 4, and then elements from the original series. As some people pointed out, it kind of feels like an anime OVA. It feels like some of the characters are barely there. The only one that feels like their presence is there is Sokka. He does a phenomenal job. Even though this is Aang's movie, Sokka is my number 1. He was my favorite character in the movie. He feels like Sokka. His presence is known. The VA does a phenomenal job. Initially, when I watched the clips and I watched the movie, my least favorite was actually Aang. I thought the VA was not the right pick. The more I listened to it, the more I warmed up to it. It is one of those where you have to just keep listening and you get used to it and you actually grow to like it. Katara was actually up there as pretty solid for me, and the more I listened to it, it was the opposite. I actually disliked her performance the more I listened to it, which is kind of a shame, because I listened to voice clips, interviews of Jessica Metten, and I thought she sounded like she'd portray a good Katara. Same thing with Toph's VA. She was my second least favorite, which is a surprise. I expected more, but my 2 favorites are Sokka and Zuko. Obviously, some people say that Zuko sounds just like Mark from Invincible, and maybe Angry Zuko, Steven Yeun wouldn't have done a very good job. I gotta be honest, in that case, at that time, I'd take some points off, but from what we've gotten, I think Steven Yeun was a great Zuko, a chill, calm Zuko. I feel like with Aang, I still think he's kind of in the middle. Sokka, Zuko, Aang, Toph, Katara. That's how I'd rank it from best to worst. And when it comes to the characters, as I said, Aang was the most prominent. Him and Taga, the main villain of this movie. I think the premise was cool. I will say this, and I'm not going to spoil anything. Out of respect for the animators who worked hard on this, who want everyone to officially support this, I will not be explaining the spoilers, but I do have to say we do go to a different location in a different part of the Avatar world, and that location location, it feels kind of like a Hunter x Hunter moment. We're in this small bubble in the Avatar world and they're adding more stuff on to a way lesser extent. I really wish that's kind of what we did with future projects. Cool as the Seven Havens concept is, and I'm very excited and I'm glad that they went down this route. Like, I think them destroying the world is better than having a full technologically advanced world where bending is obsolete. I wouldn't have wanted that, to be honest, so I'm happy we got it this way, and it's much more interesting that the world hates Korra. But when it comes to destroying the entire world rather than expanding upon it, I feel like that's one thing that's cool about this movie, is that we did expand the world and we were able to do that, and it was really cool that we were able to do that. I just wish we saw more of it. I wish we got to develop the main villain a little bit more. It feels like it just kind of went from beat to beat to beat, and that's one thing about the script that leaked, because yes, the script also leaked an earlier version of it in 2023. That version of the script had Team Avatar kind of together more. There were more moments where everybody could breathe and interact with each other. Scenes flowed a lot better, but there was also some moments with characters that were better in the final product, I have to say. And I have to say, my favorite point in the movie is the last 5 minutes. It was a very chill and kind of emotional scene, and it kind of connects to Korra a bit. It feels tacked on. People criticizing it are 100% right for saying that, but I do believe that that scene, the movie needed more of that, more moments to breathe to balance out the more high stakes moments. But one thing that I don't like in the context of the future timeline is this movie's events. It feels like when you jump into Korra, none of these events are going to be mentioned. They mention Yakone, they mention the 100-Year War, they mention these things because obviously this movie didn't exist yet, but it just feels like in some aspects, certain elements in this movie could have been on par with Yakone's actions or even bigger, something that would have been mentioned. So that's kind of an issue you have with going back in the timeline. If this was completely isolated and there was less characters, or there was more characters in a different location, I feel like I'd have less problems with it. The first 10 minutes are perfect. The last 5 minutes are amazing, and the action scenes are just great. You don't even need to know the plot of the movie. It's just fantastic just to watch. Every shot is wallpaper material. It is just gorgeous. As I said, this film getting leaked is one of the most depressing things possible, because this potentially ruined the future of the franchise. Like I said, it's a very shaky ground. Avatar Studios might have a future, it might not, and if it doesn't have the future, at the very least, we got a fantastic movie. We're gonna get Seven Havens, and we did get to expand the lore of avatars a little bit. We got to see a couple new avatars, like Avatar Sonam, which, by the way, really cool design, not showing it, but really cool design. But as I said, animators came out and they want us to support this movie officially. The voices of Toph and Iroh in the original series also came out with tweets and videos to tell everyone to stop sharing the movie and making edits. Also, what would Toph and Iroh do in these situations? It's nice to see them so involved in the fandom that they are having a discussion back and forth with everyone, understanding their frustration while also telling us to support the artists who are most impacted by this situation. And while making this video, it was reported that Paramount has launched an investigation into this whole leak, and the Hollywood Reporter typed up a whole article regarding it. Like, this is the big media story of the week, and possibly for the next couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to hear and see what Paramount plans to do, but so far they've kept quiet on the public side at least. Now, I don't think we're gonna get a movie in the future. I think this is a one and done, which I would not be mad at all, because series is where Avatar is best at. We don't need another movie, especially if it's rushed, as it was, unfortunately. But the fact still remains, we want more content, so support this, support Seven Havens. Hopefully Paramount does something. I don't think they're going to do anything, unfortunately, and it really makes me sad. They're going to wait till October and the hype will be dead. I really hope they don't do that, because if they don't do something in the next week or two, this is going to be dead. No one's going to be talking about it. Who knows? Maybe something will happen. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe with the live action Avatar, with the movie coming out, maybe a re-release with extra scenes from Avatar Studios later in the year in Seven Havens, maybe the hype will remain. Who knows? And if at San Diego Comic-Con they're going to talk about Seven Havens, they definitely should release this show this year, not wait till next year. I mean, if season one's almost done, we might as well just release it and call it a day. We could have all that, but if not, because it feels like this movie's been sabotaged, in that case, it might be game over. We'll have to pack it up. But let me know down below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next Avatar video.